Welcome to Christina All Day. Christina Reads All Day. If you're listening on the podcast, today I'm rocking my pajama pants and my t-shirt with words on it. That's what I usually wear all day, every day. The book that I just finished is called The Midnight Library. I was excited to read this one just because I feel like everybody has been talking about this book for the last few months. So this was one of those books where I didn't read the inside cover to see what it was about. I just put it on hold at the library and I went to pick it up when it was ready. And I have mixed feelings about this one. It was a Good Morning America book club pick, so I thought, okay, this has got to be a good one. Let me tell you what it's about before I tell you my feelings on it. It's not realistic fiction. It's about this woman who is very unhappy with her life, so she attempts suicide. But in between life and death, she goes to this place called the Midnight Library, full of books. And she can pick a book, and it will tell her what her life would have been like if she chose to do this other thing. And it basically gets you thinking, and I'm sure everybody has had these thoughts before, like, oh, well, if I married that guy, what would my life be like? If I took that job, what would my life be like? If I moved to this city, what would my life be like? Little things like that. And it really helps you with the whole grass is greener on the other side thought process. So she picks these different lives and she sees what would have been. And sometimes she's impressed by certain things. Sometimes she's not impressed by other things. And basically the entire book is her going through these different lives and comparing that to her current life that she wanted to live. And the person in the book who is the librarian of the Midnight Library is somebody who was very familiar to her in her actual life. And there's another story there. So it was a good book. It was entertaining. It's obviously a very creative story idea, but I wouldn't call it a page turner. And you know I like my page turners. I think when I was reading this book, I made the decision to focus more on psychological thrillers, more suspenseful books, just because I'm not turning the pages a whole lot. I'm listening to a book right now as well called The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue. This is another one I've heard great things about, and I'm listening to it, but I'm not like dying to listen to more of it. It's good, it's creative, and it's long. Much longer than The Midnight Library, for sure. But again, it's not a psychological thriller, and I think that's my genre. I think that's what I like. So The Midnight Library, it's good. It'll get you to think about life, be happy with what you have because you may think you want this other thing, but things may be different when you're there and you won't like it as much then. Makes you think like that. I did like that. It was a good book. This is a tricky one because I don't like to do half stars. I usually do 3 stars or 4 stars. And I would give it 3.5 if I did half stars. Maybe I should start doing half stars, but they don't let me do that on Goodreads. So I'm going to give it 3 stars. The Midnight Library gets 3 stars for me. The next video I'm going to do, I'm finishing up this book right now. Let me show you. This is a good one. The End of Her. I read this book almost entirely yesterday. I was on a commercial shoot. There's a lot of sitting around when you're shooting commercials, and I read almost the entire thing. This one is a bit more of a page turner, so look for this one coming up soon, The End of Her. But right now, we're talking The Midnight Library, and it gets 3 out of 5 stars for me. If you haven't already, make sure you tap that subscribe button. Please leave me a rating or review here if you are on the podcast. If you're watching on YouTube, let me know in the comments what you're reading, and you can find me on social media at Christina All Day. Share your book recommendations with me. And as always, just visit ChristinaAllDay.com to see some of the books that I am reading. They are all there in the book review section.